What's up, fellow wrestling friends? Josh here with RSMP Wrestling, and I'm beyond excited because today with me I have...
the chef, Peter Gianni.
How you doing, Peter?
I'm good. How are you?
It's great to have you on, man.
I'm excited to be here. The moment I saw you drop the first episode with Frosty, I was like, yep, I got to get on that.
You did.
There's no way I cannot be a part of that.
You, Bull, Dread, and Dan were the first three people to reach out to me.
Dan, I knew Dan would reach out. That dude loves to talk.
He does. He did a great job, though. He had a lot of good stories, and it was very enjoyable hearing him.
I watched that episode with you and Dan, and I think 90% of it was just him talking, and then like maybe 5 minutes of you asking questions.
I told him I'd have him back on so he could talk more, but yeah, no, it was great though. You know, it's you guys have a lot of history. You guys have done a lot of things over the years, so I mean, it makes sense that there's a lot to tell. So I always tell these wrestlers, like, listen, we'll focus on an hour. After that, you can come back, get on the episode again.
Oh, he'll be back for sure. He's got a few more hours to fill for you.
So before we jump into it, we're going to do what we always do, and we're going to start with the pictures. The first one, Ryan Frost told me to ask you about your drop kick. So I believe that's your drop kick.
I love
right there,
that
sir.
picture. That is such a good picture. Stan Michaels is such a good person for taking a drop kick to the face for me. Thanks, Stan. I appreciate it. Of course, Ryan Frost would want me to gloat about myself like I don't already do that enough. But, I mean, I don't know. What do you think? I think it's a good drop kick.
I think it's a great drop kick. I think it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I like to... You don't see me wrestle like as a good guy much, so when I do get to do the drop kick as a bad guy, I got to make sure it means something because it is a nice drop kick. I'm not going to undersell it short, but yeah, definitely I don't use it as much as I should. But when I do, it means something.
It looks like it put a hurting on Stan Michael there, like you said. So actually, what's cool is Stan does a lot of music. And Stan, if you see this, I want to talk to you, man, because, you know, in the beginning of the podcast, I want to get a little bumper and stuff going. So let's work together. We can probably do something awesome, you know?
Stan could sing. Definitely. That dude's promos. Every time I see him cut a promo and he's always singing over like a beat. I think he just wrestled Ichiban at Test of Strength. And his promo he cut was over Nelly's #1 song, and it was just hilarious. Like, Stan is such a good dude. He's got a talent that not a lot of people in this business have. So
yeah, no, so it'll be cool. And Stan, if you want to come on the show too, man, love to have you at some point. I'm pretty sure I think he's done wrestling for the rest of the year, which it's not a lot of days, but you know.
I mean, I'm done too, so I don't have anything for the next couple weeks. I think my next show is January 3rd. So.
Nice. You'll have to rest up and be ready for the new year.
It's good. Sometimes you need it like that, especially on the independent scene. This is like the slow time for a lot of people, and a lot of people get sour about it, like, damn, I can't wrestle for the next couple weeks. I'm looking at it, especially as my age, I get to rest for a couple weeks. I get to rehab, maybe go train, learn some more cool stuff that I can take in the next year and utilize later. 2 weeks off isn't a bad thing. It is definitely a good thing for the body.
Well, if you're in a lull for wrestling right now and you're looking for something to do, you can head over to Legends, Video Games, Movies, and More because Chris is absolutely an amazing person. He's got a lot of super cool stuff. Interesting fact, I'm going to try to stop there after I leave here today. I got to go to Home Depot and I want to get some more wrestling stuff. I don't know why I haven't shouted this out yet. All the figures that I have down here actually came from Legends. I went in and got some cool stuff there. So he's got a ton of wrestling stuff, vintage stuff, cool stuff, movies, music, DVDs, all the stuff. Check it out.
I love that Macho Man.
You know,
so cool Macho Man.
The reason I actually snagged that is because Frosty talked about how Macho Man's like his favorite, so I wanted to get some representation up there. To be perfectly honest, I kind of thought those guys were the Bushwhackers, but I didn't realize they weren't the real Doink at the time. But you know, I got
that's Doink.
You know, I didn't own any wrestling stuff that wasn't RSMP Wrestling, so I had to you know, put my money where my mouth was and show off a little bit with it.
I don't own a lot of wrestling stuff either, to be honest. I mean, as a kid, I owned a whole bunch of figures. I had VHSs. If you don't know what a VHS is because you're young, go to Google. It will tell you. It will actually probably tell you how to play a VHS, maybe rewind the tape a little bit. But yeah, now I don't own a lot of wrestling stuff. I think most of the wrestling stuff I own is my own merch, to be honest, and maybe other people's merch from the independent scene, but not a lot of figures, not a lot of collectibles anymore.
No, that's understandable. You know, I'm going to continue to have this grow and expand. I'm actually in the process of trying to grow it out a little bit. I got some more lights and some more stuff that we're going to do. So, always just trying to make things look a little bit better as we go. So the last thing I want to give a shout out to, I know it's not quite wrestling, but it is boxing, which is near and dear to my heart. So Central City Boxing and Barbell actually puts on the 2026 Western New England Golden Gloves, which is going to be right in Springfield, Massachusetts. If you've never been in one of these shows before, listen, boxing's not violent. Boxing is a game of tag where there's so many like young men and women that put so much time and energy. It's respectful, it's classy. It's really awesome to see. If you like wrestling, I can't imagine that's a huge leap from something that you wouldn't like. So I'm going to incorporate some of their footage here, just so you can kind of see some of the events and what you'd be getting into if you wanted to go see it. And there's the information that's linked down below. Did you ever do any boxing, Peter?
I actually have. I boxed for about 4 or 5 years when I was a teenager. I also did mixed martial arts like Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for about 3 years. I Greco-Roman, or if you know it as high school wrestling, I did that for about 3 years. I try to dip my toe into a lot of things growing up, so I wasn't just a sack of nothing.
Yeah, well, you're not a sack of nothing. Like, I hope this doesn't sound weird, but you made the promo 2 different times for the test of strength because
I saw that, and
dude,
I want to thank you for that because those shots were awesome, and I was just happy to be splattered in there.
Not trying to be weird, though, but you are a physical specimen, bro. Like, you walk out with your shirt off, and even me behind the camera, I was like, damn. Like, I had to put that in there. And then the other shot of you, literally, you're just like sweaty, slow motion stepping forward. But like, you look good on film. You look good in pictures. And I'll tell you, your body looks great, but your mannerisms and your face, like your focus, the way you like really get into it and you play your character, like
I appreciate
yeah,
that.
you're interesting to watch, and I really enjoy you. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
What got you into wrestling? So there's obviously some things that sounds like it started before. So start from the beginning. How do we get here?
How did we get here? I've always, as long as I can remember, I've always been in love with wrestling. It was just, I grew up with the Attitude Era. Obviously, I watched a little before that. Like, I'm a big Shawn Michaels fan, big Ric Flair fan. So, like, those dudes coming up were my guys to watch. Then when the Attitude Era came in, it changed the game for wrestling because that's when it became more character work. That's when I started watching it. I got into it. I had a teen center. I grew up in West Haven, Connecticut, and the teen center in my town was ran by a guy named Joe LaChance. And he also ran Connecticut Championship Wrestling at the time. One of the very select independent companies that was around back then. This is mid-2000s. We're talking 2006. He put a bunch of us on that he knew loved wrestling to come help him set up the ring, do ring crew, security, whatever the show needed, we got to do it. We got to play around in the ring, let professionals body slam us. I mean, like, I met Jake the Snake, Jimmy Snuka, Homicide. It's where I first met Slick Wagner Brown from these days. I met all these people. Ron Zombie, if you know who that is. So he also introduced us to Bulldog Belansky, who he trained us for a little bit, so we learned how to bump and run the ropes, but we learned it in a boxing ring, not a wrestling ring, so you can imagine that was a little stiff in the middle of January. I took that knowledge, I kept helping Joe LaChance out. I went to college at Johnson & Wales in Rhode Island, and at that time, 18, 19, and I'm just like, I need to find an actual school because I really love this and I want to do this. So I found Showcase Pro Wrestling at the time, ran by Chris Blackheart. But if I'm correct, I recently just seen that he passed the mantle down to John Cena Sr. to run that company. So that should be pretty cool. I trained with them for a while. I didn't really do any shows, but this is where around the time I met people like T Phoenix, who does RWA, Renegade Wrestling Alliance, in mainly Rhode Island. So I started doing independent work with them. I came home from college. I went to PWA, and I started training with Joseph Von Schmidt for a little while. where I came back in touch with a good, very, very lifelong friend of mine in Hippie Dickie Moon. I've known him for a very long time.
Hippie Dickie will be on this podcast soon too. He is definitely slated
we've
for that.
known each other since we were like 15. So I've known that kid for a very long time.
I'm not trying to interrupt you, but did you see the recent match between him and Ryan Frost?
I was there. I did not get to watch it yet.
Hippie Dickie got slammed almost through the ring.
Oh my God!
It was an incredible slam. So I hope you're okay, Hippie.
We'll come back and touch on Ryan Frost. I have a lot of good things to say about him, and a lot of hopeful things to come for him. But I did a couple shows for PWA. I had a few stints. I hit a very hard time in my life. I was still getting over the death of my grandfather. I had just a very long-term relationship I was in at the time had just ended, and I was also technically kind of homeless. So I quit wrestling at the time. Like, what I was going through was not in the right mind frame to continue down this sport, because you have to be 100%, and I wasn't. So I quit. I obviously chased a career in culinary arts, because that's also what I'm good at. I was partying. I tried to fill the wrestling hole, that I call it, with other physical things. Like, I played semi-pro football for 3 years. I stopped that. I went to the Army for 4 years, stationed in Colorado. But about 3 months before leaving the Army, I had like locked myself down for a little while, trying to figure out, all right, what are my next steps when I go home? I had already had a job secured. So I was trying to figure out, all right, when I go home, like, besides a job, like, I have to do something. I wanted to go back to wrestling. So I actually got in contact with another lifelong friend of mine, BMT, Brendan Michael Thomas. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I haven't yet.
He is if you heard of Wrestling with Character.
Yes.
He's all of the King BMT, Queen Ariel.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
I've known him since I was in my teenage years. So I reached out to him. I asked him, hey man, like, where should I go to train? Test of Strength, Wagner Brown. Obviously, I knew Wagner Brown. I watched him work. I know his credentials. He's been all over the world. So I went there. First day there, I see BMT. I also see Youngboy, who he's watched me wrestle 11 years prior to this. So it was dope to come full circle, to go back to training. And there's this 11, 12-year-old kid who is now 20, training and doing what he loves to do. Now I get to do it with him. And that was literally where the feet started going. Like, once I got back into wrestling, I felt like I was fully almost complete. I was complete when I met this one over here. But yeah, like, I love this sport. I will never let it go ever again. And it's honestly a legacy I want to build to maybe pass down to my child.
Yeah, that's like, I talk about it often, but when I do my film work, I like to find, something that's more than just the wrestling. And I appreciate you opening up about, your struggles in your past there, because, it's personal, but that's the beauty in it, right? Like, it sucks, but at the same time, like, that's what makes us better. That's what makes us stronger. That's what makes us appreciate the things when they're good, And it's just nice to, like, especially hear from you that, like, wrestling can fill that void for people. It's that space where you can go and you can feel good. And everything that you talked about, like, you didn't mention one thing that was like by yourself. Everything you brought up was like the people that were involved throughout it, right? And it's like, I think that's what I'm trying to show off here. It's like the wrestling community, having Frosty on and listening to that guy talk, like, he can pull you in. There's stories for days, for hours. Dan, the same thing. You, same thing. It's like, I'm excited because, I go and I throw a lot of cameras in a lot of people's faces, and you don't know what you're going to get sometimes when you press record. And it's like, it's just been nice that you guys are all so well spoken, and there's so much history here to share. So I'm excited. This is why I wanted to start the podcast. So I am going to just go back, and we're going to ask a few kind of follow-up questions.
Ask whatever you want.
Yeah,
I'm an open book.
What was your first memory like when you really fell in love with like professional wrestling as a kid? Like, do you remember a time where you were just like, it really just like hit you and you were like, I'm not even saying the time like you decided that's what you wanted to do, but the time where you were like, no, this is my thing.
So there are two moments that made me fall in love with wrestling, and like, even as a child, we're like, yeah, I gotta get at this. The number one moment You can call me a mark. I do not care. The first ever ladder match, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon. You had me hooked. Had me hooked. But then it was also the feud with Stone Cold, Taker, and Kane. I loved that. And then I'll say one last one that had me hooked crazy was when DX, I almost said DMX, DX ran up with the tank to WCW. There was just the wrestling part of it's awesome. That's cool, the physicality, but the character work, like once you got me hooked with characters, like I said, I love movies, but it comes from being hooked from characters. It was the same thing with wrestling. But then you added all the cool stuff that they're doing, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta do this. But there was just something about DX just pulling up with a tank to WCW that's across town that was like, this is like, there's nothing like this. Like, you don't see this on anywhere else. You don't see this in the NFL. You don't see this on any other sport. I was like, this is money. I have to be somehow involved with this.
That's actually a good follow-up. I've got 2 more questions I'm going to ask you here before we move on. So I want to know a little bit about your headspace going into the first time you ever went to train for wrestling. Like, do you remember that day? Were you nervous? Like, did you see it on a flyer? Like, how did you like stumble across it? Like when you were like, you know what, today's the day. Tell me a little bit about that.
I was never really nervous about, all right, so I was nervous, but I wasn't. I wasn't nervous because I think it just comes from sports. I'm not worried about getting things wrong because you're going to get things wrong. That's how you learn. So I wasn't nervous about going there to perform. I was always nervous about the people around me. And it's like, how are these people going to react to what I can do? How are these people going to react to working with me? Are these people also going to keep me safe? Am I going to be able to keep these people safe? It's always been the people around me that have like, I've been very airy with like, people make me nervous, to be honest. That's what it is. But at Showcase, because I think I was 18, 19, I was around people my age. So I wasn't like, oh, this is cake. And like, I have a little bit of experience already. So I'd be a little ahead of the ball game. Yeah, so I mean, I wasn't nervous about anything physical. It was just the people around me, and I guess you could say being judgmental.
Yeah, I think that's the big worry for anybody trying to do anything new, right? Just like feeling like accepted. But I'll tell you, if you're like thinking about walking into wrestling to either train or just be a fan, like you're accepted, like this is your place. The last thing I want to ask before we move on is like you talked a lot about your love for movies and characters and stuff like that. How did you come up with your character? I don't know why I didn't ask the other 2 people this. Like, this is probably like the most important question, right? So you walk out, you do your thing. Like, were there other iterations before you got here? And then eventually, how'd you settle on this?
So I was always like, I grew up being called PD Rock. That's always been my nickname. So when I first started wrestling, that's what I went by. But there wasn't ever a character to it. It was just my arrogance would like radiate hatred from people. And like, especially being 19 and 20, you should never have arrogance like that. You don't have a much life experience to be that arrogant. I didn't care. And like, that was me kind of in real life too. So when I came back the second time, me and Wagner Brown, being my trainer, have had talks and trying to figure out who I am. And he kind of gave me a very good template. He was like, you're a chef outside, so manipulate that. It was very much off of like Wu-Tang, and I think it's Raekwon the chef. That's Wu-Tang, if I'm correct. He wanted me to kind of go with that he's very swift and sharp on the mic. That's why they call him the chef, and he wants to kind of manipulate that to wrestling, very swift, sharp, precise, clean, and cut. Even as a heel, they say heels can be rugged and sloppy and just make things look devastating, and it gets over for them. That's cool. I like that. I like to make it look like I hurt people, but example 1, the drop kick is beautiful. But like, that's not a heel thing, but when you can manipulate it to be a heel thing, it works. So like I took the template of the chef and I kind of worked that with the wrestling, but then it kind of like, I don't know where I found the switch. Like I just started adding that arrogant touch to it again. And to be honest, I don't even know where the hand gesture came from. I have no clue. I just did it one time and I was like, that's Stan. But it's just honestly, it is now with the template of the chef and my like real life persona, and you'll hear this a lot in this business, multiplied by 100 and just stamped on. That's how I like, even as a bad guy, arrogant, cocky, I flip it as a good guy, and it's just confidence, and I shine, and I'm energetic. Either way you look at it, I just try to be the same person executed differently.
I remember I had seen the like the pamphlet or whatever for the first show, and I had seen the chef on it, and I was like, when you first walked out, it just was not what I was expecting at all. But in the first 10 seconds, when you started like cutting people up with your looks and your words, I'm like, I get it, and it's clever. Like, you don't have a big stupid hat on. Like, it was a good character. Yeah.
I think I said that to Wagner Brown. I was like, bro, if you give me this gimmick, like, of course I'm gonna make the best of it. But don't you think that I'm coming out looking cartoonish with a hat on and the whole gimmick? And even he looked at me and goes, bro, no, that's not what I'm thinking at all. Like, come on now. Like, you can wrestle, like, you got the in-ring work, with just work it a little bit. Yeah, never was it a thought that I'm coming out with a giant chef hat. Maybe if I work for wrestling with character, because that's a very character-driven place, then maybe like I'll do the chef hat. Or if I do another Comic-Con panel, like wrestling event, I'll come out like pretending I'm Gordon Ramsay or like Emerald Lagasse or something like that. But no, you hit it on the money. It's the looks, it's the moves, they're very sharp and precise and on point, and I don't miss. Like, I don't.
So one of the things I really like to focus on in the podcast here is I want to give like new wrestlers some wisdom and some things to follow. So what would you say to new wrestlers? Like, we've talked about some things, you've seen some of the other podcasts, but like, do you have any tips, tricks, recommendations? You know, if there's somebody that's sitting there right now that's like just about on the fence, like, do I get off my couch today? Do I jump on the internet? Do I look up a school? Like, if they do decide to do it and pull that trigger, what do they need to consider, and what could you recommend to them?
If you're looking to become a professional wrestler, you have to, the number one thing I'm going to say is you have to learn to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, because this is exactly what you're walking into. Like, they call it sports and entertainment, and it's the only place you're really going to get it at the level we do it at. And I think I was just having this conversation with my fiance earlier, to where like you could be very athletic, you can move well, you can wrestle well, but then you got to fill gaps with entertainment value, to where like you can capture the crowd, or you have a character. And a lot of people are good at one part and not at the other, vice versa. But it's being comfortable in a very uncomfortable environment, and sooner or later, everything will just be comfortable. That's my number one thing. Number two, if you think you want to become a wrestler, I say this to everybody who walks through the door at a test of strength. If you can get through the basic, I'll call them falls, so we don't break kayfabe way too much here. If you get through the basic falls, then you could do anything in this business. That is it. Like, everything starts from the basics. If you get through the basics, you can run for the hills in this business. But it's not easy. This is some of the hardest training I've ever gone through, next to Greco-Roman wrestling. And I've played almost every sport you can think of, minus like water polo and tennis. But yeah, I mean, it's not easy. You have to have a drive for this business. You have to have an undying love. And like, Eddie Guerrero said it best. Like, yeah, I'm an addict, but I'm an addict for this. Like, this is my drug. Like, this is, once you put me in a ring, nothing else matters. And like, you have to be willing to make this your drug if you want to do it. You can't just come in here thinking, oh, this would be something to fill my time with on the weekends. I go do a show once a month. It does not work like that. You will find the door gets closed on you very quickly. You have to, if this is what you want to do, you have to willing to be. And as bad as this is going to sound to say, You have to be willing to get addicted to this.
I think a lot of things are that way, right? I mean, if we're going to put our time and effort into anything, it's got to be worth it. And it's, I mean, you can tell by when you go to a show and see the people filling the crowd and the way that they talk and they interact, like this is definitely worth it. So if there was somebody that's been wrestling for a little bit now, but they're still new, I talked to Dan the Man and we had kind of discussed how like cardio is very, very important. So if you jump in and you're getting ready to wrestle with somebody who doesn't have a ton of matches, what are the things that like you're dreading? Is that what you're thinking? Like, man, I hope their cardio is good. Like, what are the things you're looking for?
Number one, I want to see what I can utilize in your favor while we wrestle to help you get over. I think that's more of like just me personally trying to figure out how to make the match work for both of us. I'm also going to find out what you don't do well so I know what to stay away from. Like, if you have bad cardio, I'm obviously going to tell you, get that shit up. Excuse me.
Oh, no, you can
Excuse
swear.
my
That's
language.
fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Like, get it up. This is a business where you get 8 to 10 minutes. But I'm telling you right now, first 3, last 3, you're going to die. So get your cardio up. So, I mean, if you don't have good cardio, maybe we won't go as crazy as we can in the beginning and or the end. Maybe that's where I have to work to your pace if you don't have good cardio. But at the same time, like, you got to get the cardio up. But yeah, that's if I'm going to go work with somebody who's relatively new, I'm looking for what they're good at, how to elevate what they are good at to get them over, and to find out kind of what they're not good at so we can stay away from that.
I think that's important. I never really thought about that. Like, it's just as important to know what your weaknesses are too, right? Like, people don't ever want to talk about that because it's not a negative. You'll have a better show. You'll put on a better performance if you air that stuff out. So,
and it goes back to your statement about the cardio. Like, if you're a good guy, but you don't have good cardio, like, we're not going to blow you up in the beginning or the end of the match. Like, we're going to work to your pace, because if I blow you up, the match has a chance of looking bad at the end of the day. So why would I want to put myself in that position? But I will tell you, when the match is all said and done, I'm going to look at you and be like, hey, brother, get on a goddamn treadmill. Like, get your cardio up. Like, you're in a business where we live on cardio, so get it up.
I've said it a million times. If you're not going to take yourself seriously, why should we? Right?
And this is a cardio, and you'll hear it all the time, an upper body business. So if you don't have one of those, you got to get one of them.
Not that I should have any input on this or have any opinions on anything, but it seems to me like there could be an underestimation of, like, when people think they're going to get into wrestling, they're like, hey, I'm going to start wrestling. Like, if you're going to start wrestling, you're wrestling. You're now your own social media hustler. You're figuring out travel. Like, there's so many elements that go into it that I think maybe gets overlooked because you fall into like the romanticization. I don't even, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get
of
what
like
you're
wrestling.
You're
it's
looking for the love in this.
Yeah, but then it's like, because again, I love creating the arts, right? Like going down to film you guys making this stuff here and doing all that. But it's like, what I don't love, but I have to do is get on and like hustle it, right? So it's like, what are some things that you could think of that maybe, newer wrestlers wouldn't consider that could like jump out and, like maybe a little bit more of a burden to the business than they might originally expect?
So like the double-edged sword nowadays that when I first started in this business, I did not have, it is social media. Like, I would say if you're a wrestler nowadays, your number one goal is I would say, you're your own business. You have to promote yourself. So especially when you get that, hey, go to the wild, you can go now and you have the freedom to go get booked wherever you want. Your social media is how you are going to get booked. Like, it is going to be the first look of you, like, that will get you booked in most places. Like, utilize social media, because if you don't, then you're like just a sitting goose. You just go back to your couch. Like, this isn't back in the day where, like, yes, those old school formats of going to shows and helping with ring crew and setting things up and being there just in case someone backs out. Now they call upon you to come in and step up because you were there. That still 100% works nowadays. Don't ever get me wrong. That is a great format. The number one format I would say to use to go get booked in places is just be at places and help out. But it's also social media. If you don't have a good social media platform or you don't know how to use social media, then it's going to work against you. I would suggest use it, Use it, get better at it. Listen, I sucked at it first too. Like, I did not want to use Twitter. I did not want to use TikTok. I was cool with just Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, but then I have like both apps just sitting on my phone, and it's just like, shit, I might as well at this point upload. I have on everything, social media. And the one thing that everybody thinks is like not a burden at first, but then when you realize it's a burden, is the travel. Like, so not a lot of people are going to tell you that when you go to travel for wrestling, most of these car rides are 2 to 3 hours long. This was only an hour drive for me, so I'm not that mad.
We're giving you the quality to back it up here. That'll be worth it.
But like, you're going to drive for 2 to 3 hours for $30 to $50. Yeah, it might not weigh out. And you think, looking on the outside, like, this is the dream. I want to be able to travel all over the world and go here and go there. But when you're starting off, like, you're not in first class. Like, you're in your own piece of shit Honda, like, going to Maine, like, with your boys. And, like, that is, like, a part of the dream you have to realize sucks at first, bro. I can't tell you how many times I've drove into East Bumblefuck, New Bedford, Massachusetts, or Maine, or we drove to Canada, and I'm just like, can this shit just be over with already? Like, I just want to be home now. Like, I don't even give a fuck to wrestle anymore. This drive has killed everything. But then you realize the good in the drives, especially when you take them with your boys who are on the show with you, is that now you get to learn about your boys. You get to build relationships. You might even be able to get to figure out character work that one of your friends sees something in you that you don't see. Now they pull it out of you. Car rides, you learn a lot of things, especially when you're taking it up with good talent, like boys you train with. Like, when I first started off, I was in a car all the time with Johnny Medina, Super Fro, and Young Boy, and sometimes Pretty Poppy. Like, we would travel all the time together to Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and like, the stories, the car rides were great. At first you're going to hate it. It's going to be a burden, but I tell you right now, it will be one of the better parts of the traveling experience in this business.
That's awesome. So I think we did a good job talking about the past. So I want to move on to the future now. So I'll give you a second to think about this, because I don't want to put you on the spot too much, because I didn't bring this up before we started recording. But if there was a wrestler that you were going to call out that you wanted to have a match against in the future going into 2026, who would that wrestler be?
Because there's a lot of people out there. And I don't want to aim for the moon either, because I could be cheesy as hell and say people like, oh, Ichiban or Sammy Diaz, Anthony Green, BRG. Obviously, I would love to get in a ring with Ichiban. You want to talk about blowing me up and not having good cardio? That would be the match that probably puts me in my deathbed. Would love to get a one-on-one with Johnny Medina. But I think there's something that's just edged in stone and is going to happen in time. And when it does happen, it's going to blow the minds of a lot of people. And I know he's on the shelf right now. Eventually, full circle, I need to have a one-on-one with Young Boy. Like, there's just a lot of history there. That dude's like a little brother to me. I love him. I hate the fact that he's injured. I hate watching that whole... I hate all of it. But he's a talent that a lot of people are going to want on their show eventually. And I want to be able to work with him when he's at his peak, at his prime, and at his best. Because I hope you're watching this, because when you're there, I'm going to be better. Ooh. So keep chasing.
There you go. That'll be the match to be at. We'll have to get there and film that. So awesome. No, okay. So what are some other things that you're looking forward to going into the 2026 season?
So 2025, I think I hit 14 promotions, like 6 states and Canada. I don't really care about expanding outside of New England this year. I more care about hitting the bigger promotions. Like, I want to get on, hopefully, Beyond and Wrestle Open and Focus Pro and Fight Life. I want to get towards the bigger promotions. I want to take a step up in my career. Obviously, I think everybody would want that. But also, I want to wrestle double the amount of time, even with a child being born at the end of February. So, like, I have a lot coming this year, but I want to make the best of it. Obviously, I want my in-ring performance to get cleaner, to get better. I just want to grow, honestly. Like, I think my goal at this point is to get physically in good enough shape to where, like, I can potentially get WWE ID'd hopefully down the road and chase that mark, because my time is ticking. I'm 34. Not a lot of people know that, but I'm 34. So the time is near and dear for me. So the goal is just to run 2 times faster than the next person that's running next to me. So, like, with that being said, I want to, if there's somebody that's the same level as me, I want to move double the pace that they are. Like, because they could be 23, but I'm 34, so I got to be faster. I got to be that one step quicker. I got to be on top of everything.
26 for me, it was when I don't know, it started getting a little harder. I'd wake up in the morning, I didn't quite bounce back the same, injuries took a little longer to recover and stuff. And now, like I said last time, like, I'm knocking on 40, and I'm like, I look back, I'm like, damn, dude, what did I complain about? Like, it doesn't get any better.
No,
That's
it does not. No, it does not.
No, that's awesome. So you brought up the WWE ID, and I know that the only thing I know about that is that people that are not in the WWE can use that to get into the WWE. But how does that work? Can you explain that a little bit?
So I don't have, like, the facts. So I'm going to give you from my understanding. So if I'm wrong, fucking message me and tell me I'm wrong.
He'll beat you up. I see him do it.
I don't care. So from my understanding, the way I'm looking at it is the first go around was that WWE sent out, like, scouts, basically, would send them to schools, would send them to promotions. And school-wise, I'm taking it as if you had a suitable performance center, probably a gym with inside. The coaches were well-recognized and well-known. They would recognize you as pretty much a school that the WWE can put their name on. So there was the WWE ID for the schools. And then it's kind of like the same thing with the wrestlers I'm taking. Like, the first go around, if the scout saw you and you were like, all right, you look like you can be WWE talent. There isn't many very indie flaws in you, because independent wrestlers have a lot of bad habits, a lot. So, like, they're looking for things like that. I said it earlier, it's an upper body business, cardio, character work, ring performance, crowd work. It's all that, which would get you, like, WWE ID'd. I'll give you probably in my eyes, the best WWE ID'd person, not like best wrestler or best, but like all around the best one so far would have been Brad Baylor. He's got that look. He's got that in-ring character. He's very cocky. He works the crowd well, and he's grown into it. So, like, if he's an example, I guess that would be how that worked for that. But now they also, when you go to Elite in New Hampshire, is one of the schools that's a WWE ID'd school. They do 2-day seminars with Gabe Sapolsky. I think that's how you say his last name. And you can get WWE ID'd through that. Example, I had a few people who went to the last 2-day seminar and they came back and they were told that they loved everything about them, or they just had to do this one little thing or this one little thing. And if you do that, you can come back in 6 months and we'll see if it works to your favor. Maybe you get ID'd. So with that being said, I think maybe 4 or 5 months, they'll have the next 2-day seminar. I'm hoping to put on 20 pounds of mass, bulk by then, keep the cut, but a little bit stockier, and go there and hopefully get ID'd. I know I'm shooting for the stars. Listen, I'm a year and a half in on traveling through the wild, and I know that's, a high hope for some people a year and a half in to have, but You never know, man. You
Don't
just
apologize for
never
your
know.
drive. You might have put in more work in the year and a half that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, I don't know. It's different. So yeah, you take your shot. You got to do it.
I'm
You
taking
live
it.
one life, right?
Yeah.
Like,
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
exactly.
And yes, I stole that from Steve Carell in the office.
No, that's awesome. Where are you currently training out of? Tell me a little bit about the facility. And then if there's anybody that's kind of helped you out along your journey that you want to plug, go ahead and shout them out too.
There's a few people actually. So I train at Tessa Strength. January will be 3 years that I've been there. I've been through a lot of training places. I've visited a few. I've trained at a few. And the one thing that set TOS apart for most of them, minus the fact that I know Wagner Brown and his credentials because I grew up watching him wrestle, was the way they train. A lot of people who have gone to the WWE ID seminars and also train with Wagner Brown says it's almost the same format. He makes sure, obviously basics are very, very key in this business. If you get your basics down, you can grow very well. So he's very big on basics and ring psychology. So like building a match that makes sense. Because you could do a million moves in a match and they all look cool, but the match still is just like, nah. Like, I just watched a bunch of flips. Like, there's no story here. You didn't give me a reason why I should cheer for you besides the fact that you can do an 820 that I can't do. So he focuses on ring psychology, making things make sense, doing the right things at the right time, match scenarios. Also, he focuses on what I feel like is a very lost cause nowadays is working on the fly, not calling a match outside of the ring, going into the match on game time and just working. Especially if you know the basics of a match and how a match is put together, it's a lot easier to just go in there and work it. Outside of that, Wagner Brown and Bobby Ocean, who's the other trainer there, have helped me a lot, like prime my skills. They've also helped me and are helping me clean up the details, the little fine details. They've also pulled out a lot of stuff out of me that I didn't think I was capable of doing, like a lot of the hero stuff, the cool flips and the cool match scenarios. So like I'm very thankful for both of them. They've done me a lot. I will shout out, young boy Johnny Medina, Super Fro, Pretty Poppy, Daddy Cat, Tommy Bates. These are the dudes that like I walked out the door with, and we have all helped each other grow. We have all told each other, yo, listen, that sucks, don't do that. Or, yo, listen, that's really good, make that work. Like, we have all been there for each other. We've all done car rides together. So, like, those are the dudes that have helped me. I will also shout out Dan the Man, because he is very, very much helped me prime the very bad guy in me and pulled a lot of that out. He has a thing when he sees me at shows, he's like, basically he says, more bad guy shit, Gianni. More bad guy stuff today, Gianni. I need you to really be a bad guy. Talk a lot of shit. Because there'd be some times where, like, I'll do something cool to, like, transition into when I take over the match. And I did it once, and he's like, what? That's too cool. You got to do something dirty, something evil. And I'm like, all right, Dan, I got you. So every time I've seen him after that, he's like, more bad guy stuff today. And I'm like, I got you, Dan. Stop yelling at me. Dan, not even like asking for help or speaking for help. Just watching Dan work. Dude's master on the mic. I think you said it to him on the interview with him. Like, just has a talent on the mic to not shut the fuck up, unlike other people. Like, Dan can talk, but a lot of people talk and it's just like, blah. Dan talks and it's like, dude, I can't. I cannot not listen to this guy speak, even when he's talking out of character. Like when you guys did your podcast, he wasn't in character when he was talking. He was just Dan. But even then, like, he's just got this look to him that like drags you in, and then you just add the man to it, and now you got Dan the Man, and he's a dick. And he's got a very good skill that not a lot of people have. But Dan's helped me. Those guys I take car rides with, Bobby Ocean, Wagner Brown, obviously. But then there's I feel like these people, there aren't certain people, there aren't names that I'm going to throw out there, but this is a group of people that I feel like don't get a lot of credit. And it's the people that you wrestle that are better than you or that are worse than you that should get credit too as well, that help you make better. Because when you wrestle someone who's not on your level, your job is to bring them to your level. So that helps you. And when you wrestle somebody who you're not on their level, it's that person's job to help you get to their level. So those are two learning experiences that those people that you work with don't get a lot of credit for. So I would like to acknowledge everybody. Like, I'll just give one name, and I think this is somebody maybe you can have on your podcast. Corey Duke. I love Corey Duke. I will work with that dude every day for the rest of my life. Listen, I don't gotta wrestle anybody else. I'll wrestle Corey Duke because we elevated each other. We learned a lot from each other, and I've wrestled him twice so far. So, like, thank you. I've learned a lot from you. I hope I given you something to take home with when we work together. But I feel like those are very two unspoken cases that don't get the thanks or the props that they deserve.
It makes sense that you worked out with Corey Duke because he's also cut too. So the first time I saw him was Frosty had brought it up. We were at the Kineticon, like the comic book convention thing. Yeah. He walked out as Wolverine, and I have a picture of him just like walking out, and I literally sent to him like, hey man, you look shredded here, like keep it up, like good look, dude. And same thing, like he was just locked in, like he came out and he's just, the yell and the look, I was like, he put on a hell of a show.
Yeah, I hate that guy.
Yeah, no, well, we'll have Corey, if you see this and you want to come on, man, I'd love to have you on. I got to get more footage you out in the wild though.
I just actually had a tag team match with him and his brother Caleb. So, like, you put them two next to each other. They're twins. But, like, Corey's, like, the cut, chiseled physique. And Caleb's, like, the giant, jacked, looking like Bane from Batman type. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what? Like,
what do you eat growing up?
Help me. What? Like, I want the testosterone that's in your body. Jesus Christ. But those dudes are phenomenal. The poster boys are wrestling them. January 2nd, I think. That's going to be a phenomenal match. But yeah, Corey Duke, man, thank you for everything.
You also said you had some good things to say about Ryan Frost, so I'll circle back around because he's going to want to hear it. So go ahead.
Ryan. He is such a soft teddy bear giant. Like, it is great. When I seen him come back at Test of Strength for Fight for Your Dreams 8 and beat the living shit out of everybody, that's the Ryan Frost we need. Like, we don't need this soft teddy bear, well-spoken, like, no, we need Ryan Frost that knows his time's running short, that's on a mission that has an end game and a goal. We need, like, Thanos Ryan Frost, not Danos. I said Thanos. Dan, I already hear you in my head right now. We need that Ryan Frost. When he came out, he did the Comic-Con show that you're talking about, but he came out with the suspenders, right? Yep. The white suspenders, Kingpin. Like, I got like a Daredevil, Marvel, Kingpin, like, I own this place type vibe from him. That's what we need. Listen, I love Frosty's such a good dude. Like, I've never have anything bad to say about him. I just want more from him. That's all I want. Like, he's talent that just needs to be shown. And I need more of him. Like, I would love to work with him. I have not gotten a chance to work with him at all. And, like, we're always touching shoulders or on a show together, but just never working. He's a good dude to work with. He's a great dude to talk to. He puts everybody over. He's about the boys. He's never about himself. He's not selfish. You don't get a lot of Ryan Frosts in this business, especially now when there's thousands of us and all of them are all fucking selfish people. Like, you don't get a lot of Ryan. Ryan's such a good dude at heart, man. I don't care what anybody says about you, Frost. You're still a piece of shit. I'm joking. I love you, bro. I love you.
Yeah, that's why I kind of pulled him on earlier. I recognized it right off the bat. I walked into the first event for the Pioneer Valley, that fundraiser that they were doing for wrestling, and I interviewed him, and right off the bat, I was like, oh, there's something special here, and it was like, he helps out so much behind the scenes. He's so humble too. Like every time he reaches out, he's like, thank you so much for your time and this and that. And actually, he's coming over tomorrow. He's supposed to be here pretty early. We'll see if he makes it here for 7:00, but he's supposed to be here for 7 a.m. If he does, we're working on a little something.
Who set that time up? You or him?
Me. I'm an early morning person. I'm up at like 5:15 every day. So
bro,
like,
you sent me the 3 times. I picked the last one on the list. It was 8, 9, or 10. I was like 10, and I might be a little late. Like 7 for Ryan Frost. I think you're shooting for the stars.
Get it? Well, he'll miss all the traffic coming through Connecticut, so it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, well, I'm just on a tight timeline, so I got some family stuff to do. But I think it's gonna be sick. I'm excited. It's he's. Like you said, Ryan understands that he's at a spot right now where his time is limited. Like you said, you want to see more out of him. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to see more out of him than Ryan Frost.
Yeah.
Like he's on a mission. He's driven. So it's like, I think right now both of us are kind of bouncing off each other, and it's like we're just riding each other's momentum to keep this stuff going and pushing forward. So I'm really excited to see what we can do. And again, I've brought it up a few times, but the micro series, my goal is going to be, going into 2026 to shoot a 10-part micro series about. It's going to star Ryan Frost. It's about his comeback. I
think that would be helpful for him. Yeah. I also think the one thing he just needs to do is just stop trying to be everywhere and go where he's loved. Go to Test of Strength, go to Tetsu, go to PvP. Screw going to the million places for the last go around. Nah, go to the places you're loved. Go to the places that want you there and really pop off. Really give him what you got. He beats up the bad guys, then makes a heel turn, and then he's still getting cheered. Dude, you're loved at Test of Strength. Like, you have your own little crowd section. When I first started coming to Test of Strength, there was literally the Frost Force had their own section of maybe 12 people. And I'm like, what is this propaganda? You guys really like this guy? Like, what? Mamma mia. But, I think he just needs to focus on himself and going to the places that love him and just do it one last go around as hard as you can.
What is the show or promotion that you've already got in the cards going into 2026 that you're looking the most forward to? Now, when I ask questions like this, I know it's loaded, right? We want to list everybody. This is another one of those. If you don't say one promotion, it's not because it's worse than, but like, where are you at right now? Is there anything you got on the slate that you're really looking forward to?
Everybody loves to get the like Wrestle Open or Beyond because those are like the big predominant places. I want to go to Chaotic. Like Chaotic has a very good, rich history of producing talent, especially WWE talent. I think they're over 2 decades old. Like Wagner Brown wrestled for him when they first came out, and that he's getting there. Like they have a rich history. Like, and I know people who still wrestle for him now. BMT, Queen Ariel. There's a lot of people up there. Chaotic's on the list, definitely on the list.
And as we get ready to wrap it up here, is there anybody that you'd like to thank, shout out, say anything else for, promote? Before we go, you had brought up you do have a podcast, so I want you to shout that out for sure.
So
link in the description below.
I'm going to link myself in first. You can find me on all social media, Twitter, aka X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. For wrestling, it's all at PG the Chef. Everywhere is the same tagline, all social media. I would really just follow me, subscribe, like, share, watch, comment, all of it. I also have a podcast with a good friend of mine, Joe Nuzello, who's another Army veteran as well as myself. It's The Vibe Room. Yes, The Vibe Room for a reason. I am a pothead, so we'll just throw that out there now. You can find us on all the same social media at The Vibe Room 420. Listen, we just talk about movies, football, sports, wrestling, some cool. We're just chilling stoners. That's all it really is. Listen, I want to shout out everybody who's helped me along the journey for the year and a half. Like, I'll go back. Johnny Medina has been a very big help. He's helped me prime character, prime moves, work on things. He's been one of the dudes who's like a right-hand man to me. Obviously, I'm going to shout out. Hopefully, I get to get a share ring with you guys when you guys come back. Super Bros, Young Boy, and Super Fro. It was devastating to watch you guys 2 weeks back to back, both of you guys fall. But I know you guys are both very young, hungry, and driven, talented individuals. So I will see you both very soon. You guys also have helped me out a lot. I'm going to shout out Test of Strength. You can follow them anywhere at TOS Wrestling 1. Great trainers in Slick Wagner Brown and Bobby Ocean. Like, they will work with you and they will make you the best that they possibly can. Other than that, I mean, independent wrestling is at probably the biggest it's ever been. And if you are a wrestling fan, go watch a show anywhere, whether it be Test of Strength, PvP, Tetsu, Blitzkrieg, Chaotic, Fight Life, Beyond, Wrestle Open, Pure Vanguard, PvP, Pioneer Valley, OWR, which is a up and coming stint. I will plug one match, March 7th, me versus Jeremy Lacroix, ladder match for the I-91 title. It's going to be a banger. But other than that, man, yeah, independent wrestling is the love of my life. And obviously this man loves it enough to bring me on. So go and support independent wrestling.
It's great to have you on, man. We'll have you on again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.